Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Welcome to Massenomics, the world's strongest podcast. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Massenomics. Make sure you go visit Massenomics.com. There you'll find the rest of our powerful content. While you're there, check out our store and buy yourself some of that sweet Massenomics gear.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 148 of the Massenomics podcast, the world's strongest podcast. Your two hosts are here again today, Tommy and Tanner.
What up, what up?
We're back in the saddle again for another one. Last episode, we talked about how I might need to get a new phone, and how I may also need to get new tires for my pickup.
Yep.
And it turns out...
when it rains, it pours.
Well, yeah, and I guess we said it before. We're both in the same boat of being relatively frugal, at least, and probably beyond relatively at times. I actually did both of those things in the same day.
Are you made of money? Are you literally made of money?
Not after that day. And that wasn't going into the day. That wasn't my plan. I finally I had bit the bullet like the day before on the tires, and I was like, all right, I'm going to get this scheduled and get this paid for and just get this expense out of the way. Like sometimes I just want to get big one out of the way and be like, all right, now I'll plan for the next.
Give me a little clear space,
yes.
And then I'll brace myself for the next one.
I need the dust to settle for a little bit, and then see where the cards lie, and then make my next choice. So I had got the tires done, picked that up, my pickup up at noon, drove it home, and I was like, seems kind of the same as it did before these tires, but I did have to give them $800.
Yeah. Well, my life is no different. Yeah. That's exactly how I feel with tires.
Buying tires is probably one of the more expensive, least reward combination where high expense, little reward.
Because you could make the same argument maybe about registering vehicles and things.
Yeah.
But at least with that, you never even get anything in the first place. Like with tires, you actually get something new. Like you can actually see it.
That's true.
And it's big, but unless your tires are terrible, you don't really notice at all.
Right.
I guess I haven't ever.
No. Vehicle registration is a whole other thing, though, that also is.
It is.
I swear that. Have we talked about that before?
I don't know. I know we personally have.
Okay.
I'm not sure we ever have on the podcast.
That, I swear to God, that comes once a year. My month is January. What are you, February, March?
Mine's next month.
Okay. And I swear that comes once every 3 months.
Well, it's one of those things too, though, where when you have more stuff, it hurts way more.
Mine sucks. We have, we have 3 cars, a trailer, a motorcycle, so I have 5 things on there.
Yeah.
And when I get that, I'm like, oh no.
And on top
we're
of
selling half these things tomorrow.
Probably the worst thing for you. Actually, I'm sure a lot of people are in this similar situation. But would you say you use many of those things very often?
We use 2 of the 5 things regularly.
Yeah, that's...
One of the 5 things gets used moderately, and the last 2 of the 5 get used very rarely.
Yep.
So it's for 2.5-ish things that get used in a normal rotation, but we've got to pay for all of them.
Yeah, for me, it's not as bad. I have a vehicle, boat, and a trailer. And the boat and the trailer isn't too... trailer is almost nothing. Boat's not too bad. But yeah, it is one of those things just for every year. It's like the whole taxes thing.
Yeah.
That's one, once I became self-employed, you always get your check, your pay stub when you're working a job for someone. And you see okay, yep, the government takes a lot of money out. But when you are self-employed and you literally have you get the money and it's in your bank account for anywhere from days to months.
And then it's your responsibility.
It's man, they take a lot of money from me, and this really sucks.
And what if it's I kind of forgot about that, and I spent all that money?
Well, luckily, I totally know how that can happen to people.
Right.
Luckily, I've braced myself, and I have enough financial
sense.
general awareness to
Yeah.
to know that money has to be like earmarked and kind of put away. But
Right.
I get now when people are always like, oh, this tax bill came up, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can see how if you're not a planning person, that
Yeah.
really hurts.
Yeah, as a small business owner, you kind of have to be.
If you want any type of longevity,
right.
yeah.
Either that or your business has to boom so much and you're so profitable that it's like, I don't even
Yeah,
know what's going on, but
taxes,
it all
whatever,
works. Yeah.
But that's the same one. It's like, well, because taxes are kind of estimated.
Yeah.
And so, outside of sales tax, it is what it is. But like estimated taxes, like you're kind of guessing.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
But at least if you're planning on a guesstimate, you're
Yeah.
going to be.
But
You're
even
gonna-
then, it's like, oh, that can change too. Like
Right.
just because you like, I did my duty for the year.
Yeah.
You might not actually be
Right.
good. They might come around tax time and say, we're taking a little
Yeah.
more now.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Oh, taxes.
Death, taxes, and the Massenomics podcast. All three things that
Will
you can't get away
never-
from.
Never go away.
So the original story, got the tires,
Mm.
got home with the tires. When I work, I normally wear a button-down shirt with breast pocket, and I typically
Because you're fancy like that.
Yeah, I'm fancy. I'm fancy like that.
No
And
tie though, right?
I don't wear a tie. In my previous job, I used to have
were
to
a
wear a
tie
tie,
guy.
and I do not.
Did you have a particular tie knot style that you were privy to?
Double Windsor?
That was your go-to?
Yeah, double
Okay.
Windsor.
Okay, classic.
Yep. I did. There was two different. I can't remember the other one that I did on occasion, but I liked the double Windsor
Yeah.
better. But it's funny. I used to do that every day.
Yeah.
And now I got out of it. And actually, I think your wedding was the first time that I had to tie a tie again for a while. And like I kind of forgot.
Oh,
Where I was like, oh man, I did this every day, and I just couldn't.
Yeah, it makes sense. And
Yeah.
there was a very, very, very brief period in time where I could tie a tie. I mean, we're talking like a couple months. And I don't have to wear ties ever.
Yeah.
And if you don't, it's so easy to forget that. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't even like tell you where to start.
Yeah.
Now if
You know that struggle that the guy that like at a wedding.
Oh,
and
the
you're like,
one guy that knows how to do it.
Yeah, he does them all.
Because he has a respected job where
Yeah.
he has to wear a
Right.
tie every day.
But like everyone else is like that kind of knows how you do it, and it comes out and it's this
Yeah,
long.
like
and,
the one guy has it's
Yeah.
going like way past his belt buckle, and the other guy has like a toddler's tie on.
And I did get to where I could like do it in the car, and get a, I often usually didn't but if I had to, I could and get it where it's about the same time every time. But now I basically forgot. But what was fun about wearing the tie, at the end of the day on the drive home, I loved
Just go,
on doing it really made me feel like I did something, even if I didn't.
Yeah.
But so the shirt with the breast pocket, I was walking into my house for lunch, and I grabbed my phone and went to slide it into my pocket like I always do and let go of it.
And surprise,
That day I was not wearing a shirt that had a pocket right there.
that hurts.
Yeah, and I dropped it onto other just weird coincidence now that I think about it. It was in a room that was formerly carpet that I not so many months ago changed to a hard laminate flooring.
All right, so there's a lot of
it's like-
pieces at
it's-
play
yeah,
here.
it's,
This was
it's like the butterfly effect
It
or
is.
something,
It is the butterfly.
I wasn't wearing my shirt with a
changed
pocket.
the course of the future.
Yeah. Michael J.
now-
Fox went back in time, and because he made out with his mom,
Yeah,
my phone
he had
broke.
the hots for his mom.
Yeah.
And you wanted to destroy a phone.
So it landed, and I've dropped that phone.
Yeah, actually, if you get a case on, for the most part, you're probably good.
Yeah, not that time. It hit just right in one of the corners and spiderwebbed the entire phone to the point where it still worked, thankfully. But like to rub my finger across it, there was small glass shards,
Which is not ideal ever.
No, and I was just concerned that it was going to quit working altogether soon. And I don't necessarily have a lot of that stuff backed
And
up.
There's a lot of just valuable Massenomics data living on that thing.
Yes. So this was just a couple hours after writing the check for the tires, and I said, all right, I'm just going to get this done today too.
Yeah.
And
February's a new
yeah,
month.
at least I have these two things out of the way with.
Yep.
So the cell phone store is a whole nother thing. The time, it was like a 2-hour process. And I knew what I wanted.
I was actually talking to someone about this the other day. This blows my mind that cell phone stores exist and they're busy, because I go into a cell phone store once every 3 years. So I just think like, who are the people that are in there all of the time? And how is there enough to keep 7 people busy every day?
What I was gonna say. Do you know how many people work? So I literally have not been in there since 2015 when I bought my prior phone.
I went in when I bought my prior one, my iPhone 6.
Yeah.
A week after it came out, I went in to get my phone. I was in and out very quickly, and then until I got my new one a few months ago, I went in once like a year ago because my charging port wasn't working, and I actually thought I was screwed, and they're like, oh, we can actually clean that out. Didn't know they could do that. They cleaned it out for me great, and I was in and out in like 5 minutes. They didn't charge me anything, and I was like, okay, I don't have to go in this store for a few more years.
You know what else works good for cleaning out that charging port? Is just a paper, like, because mine gets lint in it.
Yeah,
bend the end of a paper clip, and you can pick out the lint pretty good.
And see, I had kind of done that stuff, and it wasn't working. I don't know if they had some solution that they put on it that really got it good, but yeah.
But yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is there was 6 sales reps working in there, and I was like, oh my god, I thought there was gonna be one person working in here. I was like, how are they employing so many people? Because
it is like the exact thing that goes through my head.
I mean,
I'm
guess
assuming
they're
not getting paid very well, but
right.
I don't know.
I was blown away by that, honestly, that there was that many people working in there.
Mm-hmm. And the only thing I can think of is when I was there, I would say the average age was like 50 plus. So I don't know if like older people go in there as like they're just general tech support, which I would never in a million years do. Like it would have to be to the point where like I said, I was trying to fight with my phone charging for like over 3 months.
Yeah.
And finally I'm like, I might need a new one.
Basically everyone that came in while I was there was either 65 plus or 17 or under. There was also a lot of someone came, a teenager girl came in to like pay. She's like, well, I got some cash on me. It was almost like she had to pay like a little bit just to get a little bit of data back or something. And I was like, man, that would suck to have to come in monthly to pay just like, here's $20. Can I please use my phone again?
Mob boss, you got to pay to keep them off your back.
I was like, oh boy, that wouldn't be fun. But I did go with the XR 10R. Yeah, I did.
Here.
Yep. And I also had to get corrected on that by the
sales,
because I just read on it on the internet. I don't hear anyone talk about
that's
it.
That's what
so
a lot of people say. It's the dumbest naming convention ever because there's XS.
Yeah.
XS Max.
And I really, I based that partly off your recommendation, but really seems like the way to go for the price difference in the.
So this is also what we like to talk about, is that a maxed out 10S Max is $1,500.
Which I made the comment to you. I was like, well, I could maybe sell my car and get that phone. I was like, a car, a phone.
Yeah, I don't think many people. Oh, I mean, sales are not doing very well in these right now.
Okay.
Because
is that why they came out with the XR, to have a lower price point?
That's what they say, but even supposedly that's not doing the best. And actually,
it's still expensive.
It is, and Apple now for the first time, like starting this year, is no longer reporting sales numbers. They're only reporting profit. So like you don't know how many units they're moving, but the thing is you can look at the supply chain and like see what they're ordering and see that they're cutting supply chain orders, cutting them. So like the signs are telling you like orders aren't doing very good.
Yep.
And it's probably because for the most part, Americans have hit peak cell phone. Like what does outside of if your cell phone really sucks, like it's old and slow.
Right.
I mean, the newer ones don't really do anything crazy. Like they take better pictures and they're faster.
Right.
But outside of that, like it doesn't. It's not like you're going from a really shitty smartphone to like your first like good iPhone or Android phone or something like that. Like, so it's like the demand kind of isn't there anymore,
Yeah.
So people don't need to upgrade every year.
Right.
They're like us; they upgrade every 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay,
we're probably
cool.
on the more extreme end of the at 4.
Probably a little bit, but I don't think it's completely unusual. I mean, based off of the people that I know, a lot of people have phones that are quite a bit older now. And they're just like, I'm just toughing it out. I don't care.
The pricing is just
but
ridiculous,
the pricing is getting insane.
This was, as far as Apple goes, one of the most reasonable ones I could purchase there, and it was still $800.
Yeah. Oh no. Well, and this is exactly. Did you get the 128 gig? Yeah. So
it was $810.
You bump up the memory. I did the same thing. Yeah, $800.
Crazy.
And the thing that happened to me,
that's almost the budget choice.
It is, and at this point, it really is like the budget choice. And like where Apple really got me is that I made up my mind to buy my new phone, and then a week and a half later, my everyday work computer of 6 years finally quit working. So it's like,
it's kind of a similar thing.
Apple's really getting me hard this month. Like, they got a lot out of me.
He did. He's like was trying to show me it because I mentioned the that they got rid of the headphone jack
Yep.
or whatever you call that
Yep.
normal end. And he's like, well, that's why I use this Samsung something. And I was like, dude, I've used an iPhone for like 10 years now.
It's
not going to be switching.
It's the opportunity cost.
Like-
or it's like the switching cost at this point. Like,
Right.
Because all of your apps would be gone. I mean, some of
Basically,
them
I
get
will
back.
never switch unless there's
Something
some
very, very bad happens.
huge
Yeah.
change.
Well, and you know you can get an adapter for that. Or we have
Yeah,
it everywhere. It sucks. It's
Yeah.
annoying.
So that's.
But that is pretty much where we're at with phones. Outside, only a couple now even have it. Like a lot of the Android phones got rid of it too.
Right.
It's a weird world we live in.
Yeah, a wild and crazy, expensive world.
But now you can just really feed that phone addiction even more, right?
No, I was.
Does it feel like Apple's just pumping images directly into your brain now?
What is it called? The feature where
Screen
it tells
time,
screen
screen
time.
time.
I did that, and I didn't even know that was on there the first day it told me, and I was like, oh, well, that's depressing. Like I don't like seeing that, so I still have it on there, and I have been. It's working, I think, for me where I'm trying to use it a little bit less because I'm seeing.
Yeah, that is one, and it's not just the new phone; it's just the newest iOS. And
But then I get a notification, and I just want to. I'm like,
I know, and we'll quit on the phone talk here in a second.
Yeah.
But that is, I think Android does have a thing too. It does tell you how much you've been using certain apps and how much you've had your phone. It even tells you how much times you picked it up to look at it.
Yeah.
And when that first came on, it is like disgusting. And
Yeah.
I've worked with that app to like put limits in place for me. Because you can override the limits, but at least you're now getting reminders like,
Yeah.
"Hey, you've been on this a while."
that reminder does something for
It does. It does something for me. Whereas I would you could just go uninterrupted
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
And like I've cut my screen time like in half, and
Yeah.
I feel much better about myself
Yeah,
because
right,
of it.
right.
So self-control,
Yeah.
discipline, great things to have. Comes with your new iPhone,
Built in.
built in.
This episode's sponsored by Apple. Take a bite out of life. So something lifting related. What do we want to jump into first? How about that top one? That we put out a post on Instagram that just a post to kind of get some feedback from people, not opinionated
Just
by us in any
just
way.
to really
Yeah,
get
just-
a pulse for what's
yeah,
happening, what
right.
people are thinking.
And so it was a picture of Magnus Samuelsson arm wrestling back when they used to do arm wrestling in strongman events, and it just said, do you think they should do arm wrestling in strongman events again like they used to? Should there be a larger variety of events kind of like there used to be, or has the sport maybe grown or progressed to a point where that stuff, like those man versus man events, just don't make any sense for the sport anymore? And because I do think you could make an argument for both ways.
Yeah.
But the feedback that we got back, specifically on the arm wrestling, I would say was overwhelmingly no.
Yes,
that
it
should
was.
not be an event because it's dangerous.
It seemed like the main people that were like that wanted to see it were like, screw it, I don't care what happens. Like
it's like I'm just a casual fan.
Which yeah, I mean that would be cool to see, but it
Yeah.
really would be a one-time thing
Right.
because people are going to just start blowing each other
And the
up.
big thing, arm wrestling is such a technical sport
Mm-hmm.
that if you don't know what you're doing, there's so much more of a chance or risk for injury.
Yep.
But and essentially I agree with that. I don't think it should probably be there. But my counter to that would be, well, if it's a part of the sport, then it's to be good at it. It's their job to
know it.
be proficient at it. And it
Yes,
used to be a part, so you can't. You're like the thing is, people say, well, that's a whole nother sport. Kind of.
Well,
powerlifting is a whole
also
nother sport, but
deadlifting, yeah.
deadlifting is in strongman.
Yeah.
And you don't say that's a whole nother sport.
Well, some people kind of do actually.
yeah,
well, with some of
yeah,
those things,
yeah.
like with it being like a traditional deadlift setup, but
Right. But and what I would go back to is arm wrestling was a part of the sport. Mm-hmm. Like when strongman started, they essentially took events that were parts of other sports and put them all
and
together.
Just made them like
Yeah.
really heavy
Yeah.
or just like more awkward in some
and
random
invented
way.
some new stuff along the way. But that would be my counter to that is like, well, if it is a part of the sport, then it's their job to know what they're doing and not be complete novices at it. But I still would agree at the end of the day that arm wrestling probably.
I would too.
Yeah.
I think if anything though, I don't like the mentality that like, well, this is what strongman
Right.
is.
That's what I go back to.
To me, that is the whole point of strongman.
Right.
Is that it should be pretty random. Like,
Right.
I don't want to start to see, and it kind of does
It's just a
seem
log
like
press,
that a little
stone
bit.
load, and a deadlift.
And then some type of like
A
truck,
yoke or a
truck pull or airplane pull or bus pull or like the finals do kind of seem like they're almost getting
there's basically like
repeatable.
7 events and they choose 5
and that's what to me was really exciting about the Arnold this year is like they do have the tried and true ones, but they are doing some weird stuff.
The Conan Wheel of Pain or whatever it is, especially
and like even the stones, like that is to me a little bit more of a return to roots thing that has been absent for a while.
But I agree with what you said, like why just because it's been like this for the last 10, 15 years, why is that all of a sudden like, no, this is what strongman is. It's log lifts and variations of the deadlift. And it's like, well, it didn't used to look so much like that. But that seems to be what people are saying, like drawing the line. I mean, it's hard for me to understand why they're saying that's the line in the sand. Like, no, we can do log lifts and a yoke and these other 7 things, but any more than that's not strongman.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't really understand.
I think people are always going to have issues with the person versus person event.
And I kind of do understand that.
I
too.
do, and
it's
I also
a whole
like,
different thing.
Yes, that one is always tricky because things can get really anticlimactic. Like where some guy just comes out and takes one step better than someone, whether with sumo wrestling or something like that. He just has a step on the other guy and it's done. Like it's like oh, that was cool. Like, we didn't really see a whole lot happen.
Right.
Like, and
it probably ends up that way more often than not.
And you could make the argument that, well, those things aren't entirely strength-based. It is.
And someone said that, too, that several people made that comment, that it's not.
But I would also say a lot of things in strongman aren't entirely if they were entirely strength-based, Hafthor or Brian Shaw would be the only ones that ever win.
Right.
And right now they kind of are, but it also is. I mean, they can move too. They're not just stuck in place.
Right. Yeah. So what about so arm wrestling probably makes the least sense out of those because of the high level of risk. Mm-hmm. But what about sumo wrestling or what were the other Moss wrestling is probably something we see more, not a lot of, but do see in strongman still today.
Yep, because that was, what did we say? That's at the
LA Fit Expo that Larry Wheels did, yeah.
Yeah, that one, and even like Tug of War.
Yeah, Tug of War, there you go. That's another one.
That to me seems like one, like, I mean, you did it firsthand.
Yeah.
Like, it will completely gas you.
Yeah.
The chance for injury, I don't know if there's like a high chance for injury on that. Like,
I don't think so.
I mean, at any point you can just give up or be done.
And then like when you just go to the injury thing,
well, then
all this stuff is
extremely the injury thing. Just watch any finals. Half of the people usually are done after the first 3 events due to injury.
Right. Exactly.
Or not even the final, like World's Strongest Man, when they actually do that final event, or once they get everyone there, that starts to happen. People just, to me, that is, you can make the argument about anything grip related. Like, that shouldn't be in the thing, because the first time someone rips their hands and has to get out of it, basically
when they do the big frame with the little handles.
Yeah, let's do the big frame right away with little handles and have everyone destroy their hands. And now they're half of the person they were before. Yes. Like, they can't hang on to anything.
Now 3 of the people can't actually compete.
Like that's literally just like, let's shoot ourselves in the foot before a track meet here.
Right. I don't know. People say Moss wrestling is dangerous. I didn't necessarily even know that, but people say there's a lot of injury in that. I mean, I can sure see why 2 people are pulling on each other as hard as possible. But I mean, I could see it. I don't know. Tug of War, I don't know how it fits into a lot of competitions, but
I don't either.
Us using the way we did it in our team
as
competition
was
very cool.
I think it's great as a team. I would love to see a team Tug of War with World's Strongest
Man.
Yeah. That would be so cool to see.
Yes, it would be. It doesn't fit in the format.
It doesn't fit the format, and I don't even know how. That's the thing. It's like a one-on-one thing doesn't really fit either.
No, it doesn't either. But they do some of the other big team competitions. Like, I've seen it before where they have that log that they're the 2 teams. Like, I've seen Zydrunas Zavickas compete in it before, and it's like 2 or 3 guys on the one team versus 2 and 3 guys on the other. And it's like a 5-foot log that each team is holding on each end, and they're trying to like push
Oh, I don't think
The
I've
other
seen
team,
that
yeah,
one
it's
before.
I don't know how to describe it or what it is, but I've seen them do that within the last year.
Oh.
So there is something out there that they do like that too.
Huh.
But I think there's an element of seeing people actually go at it that is interesting.
Yeah, I agree. That is what makes. I mean, strongman already has more of that than powerlifting, and that's
Yeah.
what makes it way more fun. Is
Yeah.
that there actually is this competition element. I just anything to like make it more just unusual. I
Yeah.
think is always a win
Yeah.
for strongman.
Right. Sumo wrestling there again, I think it would be fun to see, but I don't know if it's.
I think it could be really anticlimactic.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Just really.
Yeah. And
that was
I
it.
bet if you pulled the world's strongest men, like the 10 from the finals, I bet none of them would want that as an event.
Oh, I don't think so. No.
You know, so
I don't think they would want any of these things.
No,
at an event.
I bet you're right. Tug of War, I feel like there's a way you could do a one-on-one tug of war. Maybe it doesn't look like the normal rope, and there could be something that you're either pushing or pulling against each other to cross a line. You know, one guy on each end of something. I think there could be something there that could be pretty interesting to see. Because to see Thor and Brian go at something like that, it would be really fun to see who would come out.
It would.
But that's just one match. That's just the one
Yeah,
that I
is
always
just-
go to in my mind. Like, I want to see those two.
Uh-huh.
But the way that it works out, it probably doesn't even end in those two doing that.
Probably not.
Yeah.
No.
So that's kind of it on that. I think it's probably not ever going to really happen or switch back that direction. I don't think.
I'd be really surprised to see it move that way.
Yeah.
I think the craziest we'll get is like the Arnold's doing, taking kind of more of a traditional thing, but just making it more like theatric sounding.
Right.
And maybe we'll get there. It'll be a total bust, but
Yeah.
on paper it sounds like, oh, this is gonna be pretty wild.
Yeah. Brian Benzel competed at World's Strongest Man last couple of years. He commented on it and said he was strongly not in favor of any of those events, and much like a lot of the people on there. But it was interesting to see an actual World's Strongest Man competitor throw his 2 cents in.
His opinion is worth just slightly more than the average person's.
Than all the rest of the people that don't actually.
Oh, he has perspective or something. Do we want to talk about? Do we want to give a little update on what Larry's been up to?
Mr. Williams?
Yeah.
This is our segment called What's Larry Been Up To?
And we guessed it pretty close.
Yeah. Yep. He finished second at the LA Fit Expo. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen any of that. If you haven't seen it by now, you don't care
Did
anyways.
you see any of the actual events?
Yeah. He, just thinking of the ones quick off my head that I know, the Max Axel deadlift, no straps allowed. He won that event. He did like 440, I think, which doesn't seem like a lot, but
I mean,
it's kind of a
Axel. Is,
yeah. I think he won that pretty easily, and even just did an extra one just for fun, and then like had already won, and that one still looked easy. So he could have done more, I'm sure, on that.
Yep.
He won the Viking press. I know he did 24 reps, maybe. The yoke, he didn't win, and he didn't look as fast as some of those guys, I'm sure.
Yep.
It was a yoke carry with a sandbag, and he didn't look bad at it, but it's just
You can see where the other people's technical abilities
the
really.
Moss wrestling. He won a couple and then lost one at the end to I think the guy that he ended up beating him overall. Okay. But he looked like pretty good at the Moss wrestling.
I would assume a strong deadlift does a lot in that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of technique in that because I did see a video of Martins. Martins Lisos was the world champion Moss wrestler in 2017.
Really?
Yeah. He is really
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And he doesn't do it right now because he is focusing more on strongman, but he said at some point in time he'll probably go back to it. But I saw him teaching Larry a little bit and seemed to be a lot of technique involved.
I'm sure. Well, I'm sure with one of those things is just get someone off of their
it's getting
balance.
off balance is the big part of it, and there's like moves. You know,
well,
like,
yeah, because if it's two guys just pulling as hard as they can, well, that could probably go quite a while.
Right, and that's not really what it is, except probably at the most novice level. So I think he did pretty decent at that. The weird event, there was this last man standing.
Well, that's assuming don't think Moss wrestling is a weird event.
Well, that was kind of weird too, but weirder than that, the exact format of it was weird. It was a tire flip. It was a big ass tire, like 11 or 1,200 pounds, and it was a last man standing tire flip event with, I think, all of the competitors. So it would start with you on that side of the tire and me on this side of the tire. And you have to flip it over, flip it to me, and then it's my turn to flip it back to you.
Yep.
And you keep going. Once someone can't do it, you're out, and someone else comes in.
So how do
I think it's your number of flips that you get all together.
Get you on total reps?
Yeah, total reps, I think. But the part that makes even less sense to me, and this is what screwed Larry from what I saw, is it was a 5-second time limit to flip the tire.
Oof.
And that was what
that basically means you have to have a perfect pick on it every time.
And Larry wasn't down ready to lift it when I don't know if he could have been, and that was on him, but they said start. He was standing 2 feet away, and it's a 5-second time limit.
Yeah.
By the time he's down and even gets wiggles once or twice,
5 seconds is really fast for that.
Yeah,
though.
and he flipped it, and they're like, nope,
wow.
no good. And they said last year it was a 15-second time limit.
Ooh, well, that's really long.
Yeah, but 5 was way too short. Yeah. If you just watch what he did and they said no good, you're like, whoa, how do you, that is not appropriate.
I don't like stuff like that.
No,
it's just on a technicality, you were strong enough, and it wasn't even you were struggling through the lift. It was just some technicality of being ready. And
the guy that beat him was a tall guy, maybe looked 6'5" and heavy guy, and I guess he beat him overall, and I don't know too much more than that. Larry got second, so he doesn't make the Arnold Amateur, which that's disappointing. I was really hoping he was going to be competing at the.
It would be cool to see.
Because I think from where our booth's at, it's probably not that far away.
It's got to be pretty close.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the map on it, but we would have been able to sneak and probably catch some of that. So that is disappointing to me.
Yeah,
I was hoping to see him there.
Always next year, right?
But like you said, our predictions were probably.
Yeah, I did like reading the posts. I can't remember. So one of the generic accounts reposted powerlifting motivation or something.
Yeah.
And someone's like, "How did he not win?" All these people that just have it made up in their minds that he is the strongest man to ever exist. It's I got to see what this other guy looks like.
He's got a lot to go on that to be, if he really wants to get. At first before he quite started here a few months ago, he did some really heavy overhead presses, and people are starting to say oh, he could be competing at World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
And now as you see him get into it, it's
there's
not
the whole,
that. There's levels on the ladder that he has to go here.
Yes.
There's, and you can see he's not there yet. I mean, probably not many people would come into their first strongman competition and do as good as him.
Yeah,
very few ever.
One of this size, too, not just some little local meet. But
so not like he's a slouch, but there's just a long ways between he and the strongest men in the world still at strongman.
Yep.
But we'll keep our eye on Larry. We'll keep you on the loop just to make sure
there'll be some more updates along the way.
Yeah, we're not gonna forget about him altogether.
Not write him off quite yet.
No, guaranteed.
Do we want to go into a stat of the week?
We've got a good stat of the week this week. Yeah, at least it's cool for those of us from Massenomics, but
at least 5 people are gonna like this stat.
Everyone else, the rest of you listening, probably won't care for it, but maybe you'll find it interesting.
Sit on down and get ready.
This is from our friends at Open Powerlifting. Always shoot us the stat of the week, and they put this one together special for us. And I didn't even notice the title of this at the top until just now, but it's called the first annual Massenomics Gym Awards.
Ooh,
I didn't notice.
Did the work for us.
Yeah, and so there's about 20 different stats, and this is specific to the lifters of Massenomics Gym. For those of you that maybe haven't listened to us for a long time, we have our own club, powerlifting / strongman gym. We got 30 to 40 members, and this is the stats of those members that have powerlifted there before.
Awesome! I'm excited for this.
A couple of them I'll quiz you on. I don't know if I'll do every one because it just would be too long, but I'll pick some of the better ones to quiz you on. All right, first stat: most competitions.
Gotta be Larry.
Larry Shook 8.
Okay. Is that counting bench only or has he done he's done push pulls, hasn't he?
They did Open Powerlifting did go back and forth with me to do my homework to make sure everything that the stats were comprehensive. I do think Larry had a couple old meets that were even
that maybe
out,
haven't
that
been
I don't-
documented yet.
Yeah, and I don't even know if there is like I've looked back
Yeah,
on
it could
the
just-
South Dakota.
it's probably on a piece of paper.
It's yeah, and
in
I
a
don't think it
folder
exists
somewhere in a filing
so
cabinet.
yeah, so he's done 8. I think possibly more than that
Uh-huh.
if you really figured it out. But so earliest competition per the records would also be Larry Shook. He did one in 2014.
Oh, he's got to
Yeah,
have him older than
right.
that. Yeah.
There are ones older than that.
Yep,
It's just that
okay.
South Dakota's
Okay, yep. Their record
the
keeping
record's
was
it was
okay. Yeah, 'cause I know for a fact Larry has him
right.
before 2014.
But that's the
Okay.
earliest in the database.
Okay.
And he would have been the only one. I think everyone else is completely comprehensive from what I
Yep,
saw. It's just
I think
Larry
so.
has earlier ones that because he did some where he's competing single ply.
Yeah, because I remember him telling me that
the-
doing meets when single ply was
Yeah.
was the only option. And
And
I think what was that changeover in like 2008 or 9?
Maybe that's something like that. Yeah.
So yeah,
So
I think
yeah.
he probably has meets from back then.
He does, and that's not on Open Powerlift not having the data. Like I
Yep,
said,
that's
that is
just bad record.
yes. Okay, average body weight for the lifters of the gym. This is all body weights for all competitors from all competition data.
220.
Very close, 227.48. So that's pretty on
Yeah.
par with average of
Yep, 'cause
what
we
we've
got
seen.
guys a few little lower, got some guys quite a
Yeah.
bit bigger.
I think we've done a stat of the week that Open Powerlifting has provided before, where it's average weight of all, and I think it was slightly less than that.
Yeah.
It was over 200.
Oh, was it like 205? or
Yeah, I
something?
think
Yeah.
so. So we're a little heavier than
Just
the
bigger
average.
guys in
yeah,
general,
that's
really.
right. Okay, now we'll get into the average lifts of the Massenomics powerlifting team. Average wrapped squat is 502.
Okay. Can't be many though.
No, the wrap squats are far less than the raw squats. Average raw squat, what do you think that is?
470.
495.
Wow.
And I thought that
5
was
plates.
yeah,
That's-
that was higher than what I would have guessed.
Yeah.
That the average squat of the gym was. Average bench
300.
331.
Ooh.
That was
Even
another one where I was
like everyone, so many people at the gym though can bench 330 plus.
yeah, right.
Like, there are a
right.
lot of people.
Yes, that it does bring that up. Average deadlift, what do you think that is?
550.
That was 538. So I thought, to me, just on those three numbers, the squat and the bench were higher than what I might have thought.
Yeah.
The deadlift was a little lower than what I might have thought.
Yeah. yeah. It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I can totally see it.
Yeah. Average total, full power meets. What do you think that is?
Average total. Ooh. Well, I mean,
I guess you
based
could
off the
just
numbers,
add
you
them.
could
Yeah.
tell me what's that come out to be? Probably like 1350-ish?
1366.66. Not a bad average total.
No.
Average Wilks score.
That's got to be like, wow, okay, this is where it gets a little tricky now
Yeah.
because we're talking all 370.
375.
Wow, I'm pretty good at this.
So I think that's a pretty decent average Wilks score of all the lifters at the
I
gym,
would-
too.
When you say that's the average, yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay. Now we get into the biggest lifts of in competition of the gym. Biggest wrapped squat. Do you know who has that?
Is it you,
Nope. It's not me.
Larry?
It's Larry.
It is, huh?
Well, Larry will be a name we'll
Yeah,
hear,
I'm sure, yeah.
hear often in this stat of the week. Larry Shook 590 pounds wrap squat.
Ooh, right
Bi-
there.
Biggest raw squat.
Is it Larry also?
Larry again.
Is it?
Yep, 562.
Man, there's a couple.
There's
people,
a lot of people right
there's-
in that
yeah,
bulk,
there's a lot of
that
people
550
right
plus
there,
where
yeah.
it's there is a lot of people right in that ballpark.
Yep.
Biggest bench
You.
is me, 441. Biggest deadlift. Do you know that?
In a meet.
Yeah, because the caveat to this is we have a lot of people at the gym that have some really big
They
numbers
do.
that have not ever competed
Yep,
though, and we're
yep.
looking at just
Competition.
only competition. So that's what gets tricky on some of these.
It is. Biggest competition deadlift. Would it be Ryan?
Nope, that's me, 650.3.
It is. Okay. God,
I
couldn't
think
remember.
Ryan's attempted like a 639 or
Yeah.
something. So,
Okay.
and there again,
Well,
you,
guys, it's
you would
been-
wonder
it's
if
been
Ryan
so long
has maybe
since
done that. Yeah,
it's been
like
so long since I've seen you do a deadlifting
Yeah,
competition
right,
that I
right.
can't even remember now.
Biggest wrapped total is me, 1615. Biggest raw total,
Larry?
that's me,
Oh, it is.
1593.
Oh yeah.
I've got a few pounds on them. So
Yep.
all right. Biggest wrapped Wilks is, I mean, the wrapped ones aren't as interesting. It's narrowing it down to like Larry and
Like,
myself.
yeah,
And,
like-
so that's me, 418. Larry was really close though. I think he was like 415. We were like right next to each other on the wrapped one. And then, all right, biggest raw Wilks.
You?
Yeah, and that's just, Larry was like 2 points behind me or something. It was really close. We had a lot of people that were like right at 400, you know, like within 390 to 405.
Yeah, I
We
was
had a
looking
lot
the
of
other day.
people.
Yeah, it was almost everyone falls in there.
Yeah. All right. Favorite federation.
It's USAPL.
Yeah.
Easily.
31 USAPL meets. The second highest is APF with 9 meets. So yes, almost all USAPL meets out of our gym. Meets in 2018 there was 12. 2017 there was 13. 2016 9. 2015 5. 2014 1. Larry.
Like they're saying competitors.
People that competed. Meets that were competed in by gym members in that year.
Like unique different meets?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I suppose you get guys
Yeah.
like Jake and stuff that have done. And
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah.
So what was the most? 2018 was the most?
17 was 13.
13. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Here's an interesting one. Largest weight change. Do you know who that would be?
Oh, boy. Because this is going off of weigh-ins, too.
Yeah, this is weigh-in weights, and so between anyone's various meets that they've competed in,
I would think I've got to be pretty close.
Is that your final answer?
Sure.
Yes, it is. Thomas DeFay. Do you know what you're weighed in at your first meet?
My first meet, I probably weighed in about 180 or 181.
179 in 2015.
And my heaviest weigh-in was
Yeah.
probably 223.
222. So you had a change of about 42, 43 pounds. So
that's
you have
all-
the largest change.
That's all it takes to get stronger. Just gain 40-some pounds.
Yeah. Most first place finishes is Larry.
Uh-huh.
Favorite state to compete in besides South Dakota? Minnesota has 4.
Just because nowhere else has
Yeah.
meets.
South Dakota has 33. That's it.
Wow.
That's the stat of the week. That's a personal favorite of mine. That was fun to
I do
see
like
all
that.
all
The one I would like to know is who has posted from their worst performance to their best. Who's had the biggest change in total.
Yeah.
That would be a cool one.
That
to
would
know,
be biggest change in Wilks or biggest change in total.
yeah, both of those.
Yeah.
Which I think we have the.
Yeah, we
could-
have
we could do that
we have the
ourselves.
data that would it'd probably be. I would guess maybe either you or Ryan.
I would
would
say
think-
for sure in a month, Ryan.
Yeah.
It's got to be Ryan
Yeah,
in a month.
right.
Yeah, I could. Actually, we're probably pretty close right now. It's
Right.
got to be pretty close on us.
But yeah, when he does one more meet, as long as he has even just a decent meet,
yeah,
his
it should be.
because I think he was like 1100,
I think he was right around there on his first one, and
he'll
if he has a
be
decent day, he could go 1450.
yeah. So he'll have a
Which
350
that's same
pounds.
thing for me. Is I think my first meet was like
11?
right at 11,
11:08
and
or
my
something
last
like
one
that.
was like 1405.
Yep. So right now you two would probably be really close, and if he had a good meet in this one, he could probably take the most improved award away from you. But you have gained more weight than anyone else.
I've gained more weight than him. He's got to be pretty close. Well, no.
He was my other guess, but it depends on when
Yeah.
that first meet. He had probably already
I think
gained.
I think he was already getting a little bigger then. I think he weighed
Yeah.
230-ish. And his maybe heaviest weigh-in is, well, what is that weight class?
264.
260. So, and I think he's
probably
been right at the top end
yeah,
of that. So, yeah, I still probably got him by 10 pounds.
Yeah,
No, most people just aren't as dedicated as I am to gaining weight for the cause.
that's right.
And I'm still like pretty average size in my mind.
But that does show you. So you have the most weight gain and probably also the largest total gain.
Yeah.
It's-
It could,
I mean,
it
it's
could go
pretty-
to say that I was really bad before.
Yeah, but I think it does show that being heavier is a big factor of
It
being
is.
stronger.
Well, and also being 180 pounds at 6'1" isn't advantageous
Yeah,
to strength
no,
either.
Right,
you know?
exactly. Yeah,
Especially
it's
when you
just-
start meeting all these people that lift a lot of weights. We're like, oh yeah, you're all like little houses. Like you're not.
yes,
There's no lankiness here. It's not a thing.
right. Even the guys you think are kind of tall,
Yeah.
you're like, oh,
Yep. Nope. You're just kind of a short guy.
yeah. They should have done our average height of the gym. It would be
That would well
Consider-
if that was
that's not a
captured,
recorded
I would
stat,
say
yeah.
I would think the average height At
well
least,
above
I mean,
average.
assuming guys,
Yeah.
is got to be close to 6 feet.
I think so, for sure. I mean, we got several that are over,
Yeah. I mean,
decent amount over.
We have 6'1" to 6'5". Like,
Yeah,
that's covered
yeah.
pretty good. So
Yeah,
and there are a few shorter guys too, but
Yeah.
yeah, I would think the average has got to be pretty close to 6 feet.
I think so. Which for powerlifting is pretty tall.
That's usually not the best height for
No.
powerlifting.
So that's the stat of the week provided by the Open Powerlifting guys. Excellent work on that one.
Yeah, very good.
That was great. We're had talked to the Open Powerlifting guys, and we're going to work on getting a few more little short video segments out that they can share and we can share on this. We've talked about doing it before, but sometimes when things require work, it's easier to not do them.
It's easier just to talk about it and wait until the next time.
So maybe you'll start seeing more of this. Maybe right now this talking will be in a little clip that you'll see. But thank you for putting that one together.
Yes, thank you, Open Powerlifting.
We look forward to more future ones. If you got any suggestions on what certain powerlifting stats you'd like to see in the stat of the week, you could comment to either us or Open Powerlifting about that.
And I'm sure someone could get on that.
Yeah, they got a team of guys over there that are good at doing stuff like that.
They know their stuff.
They know numbers and databases.
Yes, they do. Do we want to talk about big lifts?
Yeah, we do have a big lift that we got to cover.
So this one, I'm already calling it. I think this could be in top 5 for the year. And it is the first month of 2019. I do think this could be an early front runner for top 5 of the year.
big lift of the year.
I really do think it could be. Like, because it's so out there.
Yeah. So the lifter is Mahalia_Michelle on Instagram. And I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'll say it again. Mahalia_Michelle. I don't know that that's her actually correct last name or not, but that's her Instagram handle. And what did she do? She did a bench press.
What was it? 355.
355.
355.
Yeah.
And she is. Do we have an actual age?
15 years old. Is
Oh,
what
she's
I got told.
15?
Yeah, that's what someone that submitted it said to me. Is that
Okay, then I'm even a little. Okay, I thought she was like 18, like on the verge of graduating.
no? Someone told, and you could fact check this, and I don't know where this is at as far as truth or not. But the person that
I mean, she's definitely in high school.
yeah, it's a high school meet.
Yes.
You can tell that for sure. But she said she's 15 years old.
And she benched
355,
355.
like a nice looking
It
bench.
is. Like, I'll be the first to say it wasn't the longest pause in the world.
No.
But it also was a very easy
Yeah,
lift, though.
yeah. I don't think had she paused it another half a second, it wouldn't have.
Yeah, judging by
been a
how that
different
moved, the
outcome.
pause
No.
had no bearing on the success of that lift.
No, not at all. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, like that shocks me even.
I mean,
like,
not
didn't
pretty
know-
impressive. That's insane.
It is, and she's built too. Like,
Yeah.
if she's only 15, like, you got to assume in 3 years
Well, she's going to be benching 400 pounds raw before she's out of high school.
it would be shocking if she didn't at
Yeah.
this point.
You'd think she's built. She's setting herself up to be the best female bench presser ever.
It kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
I would just assume powerlifter too.
Yeah.
Because you just need time. I would imagine she hasn't been powerlifting for 10 years.
Right.
Probably only a couple at the very most. So you would assume if she gets a little more time on it, she could also be the female Larry Wheels.
Amanda Lawrence is going to do her best to try to
say
secure
otherwise.
that title, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty crazy. That one was so good that it was the only lift that made big lifts this week. It deserved an entire solo showcase.
segment.
Yeah.
When you're good, you're good.
So Mahala something.
Yeah, and I've seen this. I think it's on. I think I saw it on Barstool Sports too. Like, it's kind of been making
Okay.
the rounds. So it's not anytime a powerlifting, any
Anything.
lift from powerlifting
Yeah.
can like make it past just powerlifters.
Yeah.
Like, it has.
Like when Jen Thompson benched 315 with the high school football
yeah,
kids,
and like when Ray Williams had his
Yeah.
first like 1,000-pound like raw
Yeah.
squat, like those all like
transcend
kind of
powerlifting.
transcended just the powerlifting
Yeah.
community.
Yeah, for sure. Pretty crazy. 15 years old. That's nuts.
It is absolutely.
It's embarrassing all
And
lifters
embarrassing.
everywhere. Yeah.
What am I doing?
That is the feeling.
Do we? Oh, ho.
What
Let's
else
see
do
if
we
we have
got?
a best Instagram YouTube comment of
Oh.
the week again here.
This falls in line with if you remember last week, our best what our best Instagram/YouTube comment of the week was. It was on our Massenomics versus post that week. Someone just commented, "dumb." Pretty simple and straight to the point.
Yep, we're beating around the bush with that.
So this week our Massenomics versus was Mark Ripto versus Bill Belichick. And recurring theme here, also on the Massenomics podcast, is talking about James Strickland, Big Jim. And his comment on that Massenomics versus was dumb.
And I did see it was getting likes on it. And I don't know if that's people actually agreeing with him or in
people
on the
that
joke.
know that. Yeah.
I don't know at this point. I have to assume it's actually probably a little of both.
Yeah, we're not sure if people are laughing at us or with us. We know that James is laughing with us.
Yes.
Maybe it's just humoring us.
And if anyone likes that because they think it actually is dumb, well, we're laughing at you. You can't laugh at us because we're already laughing back at you.
Right. We beat you.
You kind of actually fell into a trap there, so that was.
So this is a little different. That last week the person was kind of a dipshit that probably didn't understand Massenomics. James understands Massenomics very well and was in on the joke.
Yeah.
But still made for a good Instagram/YouTube comment of the week. What do we got next?
Well, we are getting down there on time.
Okay. Well, then I think you know what we need to jump to?
What is that?
This is our fastest growing segment on the Massenomics podcast. Belt in because you're in for a ride on this. We call this underrated or overrated. If you're new to underrated or overrated, gonna give you a rundown on the rules here. If you're a veteran to underrated or overrated, you're gonna be like, why is he reading these rules every week? We fucking get it already. But here they are.
It's kind of complicated, so listen.
Yes. These are lightning round questions. Some of them are related to pop culture, and some are mixed in with a little bit of lifting-related topics. Sometimes they get to be less lifting-related because there's only so many lifting-related topics that exist. But we got a mix here of both. But a key point here to take away is that I asked these to Tommy, and he can reply with answers that are either as brief, as short as he wants, or as long as he wants. The ball is completely in his court on the length of the answer. The question is lightning round. The answer could go either way.
It could be very not lightning round. And thank you for that explanation, Tanner. I
Yeah.
think you might have even cleared it up to me a little bit that time about the rules
well,
of this whole thing.
I know it gets confusing. I know sometimes we just jump into it and everyone's like, well, what are they doing with the
I think
underrated
sometimes
or
even
overrated
I don't
thing?
know what's going on. I just start talking. But now I know.
Now everyone should know, but we will recap next week on the rules
in case
just to make sure. Okay. This first one, I'm going to throw it at you. You might not know what it is. If you don't, I'll explain it, and
and then I'll formulate
Yeah.
a highly opinionated position.
Okay. This is Smurl, and that's spelled Smiirl. I'm not sure if that's the right pronunciation.
Country of origin.
Use it in a sentence. Okay. Smurl is on underrated or overrated this week.
Wow.
It is Smurl follower counters. And this is something that pops up on my Instagram and Facebook ads every day, constantly.
I've never seen
this. Okay, so I think it's getting targeted at me,
yeah.
But it's literally on my ads. It's the second thing I come to every single day is these Smurl follower counters.
Do you see a lot of Instagram ads?
Yeah, in the last half a year, it's really been
in your timeline.
Yes, and it says that this is
I know it does, but
every day.
If I see one a day, that's it.
Okay, no, they're getting to be more.
Maybe it's related to how many followers and stuff.
I think it is related, and I think this ad is specifically related to how many followers you have, because what this product is it's a physical box that you plug into an outlet and hook up to Wi-Fi. And it's a ticking counter of how many followers you have either on Facebook or Instagram. And it's like for businesses, they put it up in their shop window or something. Says
it's like the doomsday clock to this imaginary day that just ends.
I should almost, like, if I just opened up my Instagram, I'm sure it would pop up as the first thing on there.
So why do they call it Swirl? What is that? Is that the brand name?
I don't know if it's a foreign company or why that. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. I've just been seeing it every day. That here it is. I'll show you a picture of it. So that's what the product is.
Okay. All right. Oh, I've already made mine. Okay, for the people that
One other thing, the price.
oh,
Because I saw this so many times, I was like, okay, how much is this? And what they sell it for is that you put this up in your place of business. Customers walk in and see it, and they think, oh, I should follow them on Instagram. That they have an Instagram presence. They have 1,009 followers. I should do it too. And it's a live ticking. As someone follows it,
is it like an actual number that turns
Yes,
over?
it turns over.
Okay, so it is a pphysical thing. It's not like a panel display. Of any
No,
kind?
the way I've seen it, it looks like it's actually like a
Okay.
clicking.
Okay, that's kinda cool.
Yeah, $350 for this thing.
Okay, before the price, I had already made up my mind. I really like the idea of someone using it as a joke.
Yes.
Like, that's kind of cool. But if you actually use that in a serious way, like, you're kind of the problem with things.
Yes.
And I don't doubt that somebody can come into your business and be like, oh, these people got 50,000 followers. I better follow them. But also, like, those are the worst kind of people, too.
Right,
Like,
right. That are just following you because they see,
so it's like,
a lot of followers.
like, you are a bad person appealing to bad people at this point.
Yes.
Like, if someone gifted us one, it would be really funny to hang around.
Yeah.
Like, because it'd be so dumb.
I mean,
and,
it could sit right here or something, and
Yeah.
you look and you're watching the video, and you're like, oh, someone just followed their
yeah,
page.
like, yes, okay, yeah, I would think that'd be very funny.
Yeah.
But to people actually using it in the serious sense of, like, as a way to, like, have, like, social proof, oh, it's so stupid.
And to cost $350.
And then, yeah, $350 on top of that.
And they have this, their ad is this one video. It's a group of people sitting around their
And I'm sure
Facebook
it's just,
Smurl.
like, the cheesiest, dumbest
Well,
thing.
and it's clicking over to 100,000. But the way that this video ad, the way that it rotates, so they were at 99,999.
Uh-huh.
So to click it to 100, all those nines
I'll
have to change
go
near.
click, 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 click.
Well, and they do it one at a time.
Yeah.
So first the new one pops up,
Uh-huh.
and then the 9 clicks around. It has to click down. It goes 9, 8, 7.
Oh, it's not like a
No,
fully,
and it gets to the last one, and it looks like they're losing followers.
Yeah.
Like it looks like they had 119, 100,000,
Yeah. And they're
19
just getting
followers,
wiped
and
out.
it clicks down to 0 where it equals.
It really is
And
like
every
time's up.
comment on the ad is always, why are they celebrating? Because then once that last one clicks down to 0, they all like blow kazoos and party and like everyone's pumped and excited. And the comment is always, why are they celebrating that they lost followers? And everyone goes, this is the worst ad I've ever seen before.
I love it. That's awesome.
So what'd you say, underrated or
Oh,
overrated?
very overrated.
Okay. Smurl follower
Smurl.
counters.
Sorry, Smurl.
Underrated or overrated? Bar grip shirts. Specifically, I suppose A7 because I don't know who else makes them.
I've never worn one, so
either.
I have a hard time. I can only speak from opinion on this one.
Yeah.
I do like the idea that if you have a shitty bench, you can remedy that with
a shirt.
That is nice. Now, though, there are a number of other ways that can be done with just as simple as grabbing exercise bands, putting them on a
Yeah.
bench. People make like the little like Velcro pads you can kind of wrap
Yep.
around just the shoulder part. This is more than anything. This is probably one I just want to say it's just rated, but
Yeah.
I'll say underrated. It does serve a purpose.
All right. Can't use it in USAPL meets. I don't know if you
No,
can in other
no,
meets or
cannot
not.
use-
Okay. Underrated or overrated? Premium headphones, i.e. brands like Bose, Beats, maybe even more premium that I'm not thinking of,
Well-
but premium priced headphones.
I do. Okay, this technology, always with technology, there's this principle is probably more obvious in technology than anything else, and that is the principle of diminishing returns.
Uh-huh.
And you also do have to understand with technology, certain brands especially, you are paying for marketing. So it's no surprise that if you do just a little bit of Googling, you'll see that Bose, or I'll use Beats actually. Beats, they are designed nicely. They look nice. They look like something that Apple would have created. And
Yeah.
Apple knows how to make an attractive looking product. They look nice, but on on actual hearing tests, sound tests, a $200 headphone will rate probably pretty comparatively to like $60 headphones from like a Sennheiser or Audio-Technica, something like that. So that kind of comes the whole thing of like, well, all right, it is a bit of a fashion piece.
Yeah.
If you have not watched what is the HBO documentary? I cannot think of it. There's a HBO documentary, Defiant Ones, about Dr. Dre and Jimmy. What is his name?
Eat World. Mr.
Man.
Eat World.
I cannot think of his name. I'm spacing out hard here. Jimmy Iovine. Him and Dr. Dre and like how they made them, and like they just talk about that. It is a great documentary. You should watch it. It's on HBO. But then like one part of it, they do talk about kind of like the Beats deal, making Beats headphones, and yeah, I mean like their head was kind of in the right place. But they do talk about like how their goal was to get their headphones on every athlete they could.
Yeah.
And they did really good with that. And I mean they have. You probably can't think of many marketing campaigns you've heard or seen for headphones besides Bose or Beats.
Yep.
And Bose does have the noise canceling ones. Have you ever actually tried on?
I haven't, no.
If you actually try them on, you're like, whoa, this is like some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And like so a lot of people probably don't even realize because most people aren't in the market for them. But like Bose, they're quiet, comfort, noise canceling headphones. I think they're like $320, which sounds like insane. But the other players like kind of in that market space are Sony, Microsoft has one, and someone else, and all of theirs are between like $300 and $360.
So they're just as expensive.
They're just as expensive. But noise can't. It is pretty cool if you've never tried it, how it works. But what was the original question?
Premium priced headphones.
Premium priced headphones. I would say to the right person, they're completely justifiably rated. So I would say underrated.
Okay.
I think it's cool when anytime people can. It's probably more of a fashion or a style piece at this point, but anytime people can appreciate something at a higher level, if that's the reason they're doing it, that's always good.
Yeah. All right, we'll finish with this one. It is Super Bowl week. Underrated or overrated? NFL touchdown celebrations.
Underrated, because this is my whole thing with it. The NFL is a league where they play football. What is football? Football's a game. What do you do when you play games? You have fun and do stupid stuff. Like, to anyone, I get it. I'm not a college football player. I'm not a pro football player. It's life and I get it. I'm not that guy, but you're playing a game. Like, everyone's lucky that we can have so much free time in our lives that we can sit around and complain and whine about this stuff. And
about
then
whether or not someone
and
spikes the ball when they score a
it's a
touchdown.
game that, I mean, let's be honest, for the most part, most of the fans have never played it in their life, personal, like at an actual official level of any kind.
Yeah.
So it's a game, and when I see people be like, "Oh, the dancing and the
integrity of it,
celebrating, what happened to sportsmanship?" I want to be like, "What happened to games?" Like, oh man, are you that person that makes everything in life more serious than it needs to be? Like, let's not forget what this is. It's a game because we're all have that much freedom and free time that we can sit around and do nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to see more. That's actually my thing. Is I want to see more ridiculous things.
Yeah.
Like, and these guys are all rich enough. I don't know why they don't do really stupid things that get them fined all the time. Like,
do you have a favorite touchdown celebration of all time at all? Or
I don't know.
like Randy Moss.
I mean, but like now
pulling
that
his
they've
pants
allowed
down,
him again, like that's what. Like, I do like it when it's at the end of the week. Like, oh, these guys did this big choreographed thing.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, it's so cringy. It's like, yeah. Also, they're playing a game. So who cares?
I like when Randy Moss pretended mocked to move.
That one was pretty classic.
I like when
as far as
T.O. for the Cowboys. I mean, people have done this probably hundreds of times since, but he grabbed the popcorn and dumped it in his face. I've seen a lot of images of that just it just looked cool.
Yeah. There is also a line between being cocky. And I'm not a huge fan of like people being really cocky. Like,
what about the Lambeau leap?
Yeah. I mean, it's part of this thing there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a fan, that's probably the greatest thing in the world that can happen. As far as like a person at TV at home watching, it's pretty lame. But, you know, it's kind of right up there with spiking the ball.
Yeah.
It probably feels good if you're the guy doing it.
Yeah.
As far as everyone else goes, it's kind of But,
I liked when the Atlanta Falcons did the Dirty Bird.
Yeah.
Or Terrell Davis would do the Mile High Salute, which are not that exciting, but it's just kind of classic celebrations. Yeah.
So I do think touchdown celebrations are underrated, and I think that if anything, they should extend the period for what it can go for. Like, okay, the new rules, touchdown celebrations have to be less than 3 minutes. Like bring it to the point where I think a lot of people are probably like
it's
me.
Like NFL Blitz.
Well, it's like they probably complain like, oh, the NFL, no fun league.
Yeah.
And then just next year, like, screw it. you guys now have 5 minutes for your touchdown. So to the point where like people are like, oh, make it end. Like this is way too long.
Yeah.
If they could get, this would be really cool if they could get like celebrities to come out with them for the. So there's just some celebrity waiting back there. Who would be good? Lil Jon and Usher come out and start reliving from like 2005, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's so cool!" And they let him bring out a microphone and all that stuff. Now we're talking like that's
a celebration.
Now that is a celebration. Now you're going to a game. Who is this guest you're going to see?
Yeah,
that would be some stuff I'd like to see.
So underrated,
very underrated.
And that'll wrap us up for Overrated, Underrated, and that will also wrap us up for the Massenomics podcast for this week, I believe.
I think so.
Our important
Is it
notes.
because we don't have enough time to go through all the reviews that we got in?
That's true. We got so many reviews again, and also I haven't actually checked the reviews this week, so we'll save. Hopefully, we'll be saving a bunch of reviews up for next week, and maybe we'll just do an episode full of reviews, all the reviews that we got over 2 weeks. While we're talking about reviews, leave us a review so we can talk about you next week. You can write whatever you want, and we will read it on air, just as long as it's 5 stars. 4 or 5, I guess 4 could maybe be okay. We've never had one before, but 5 is still more ideal.
Yeah.
Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Go to our website. Go to our store on our website is the most important pit stop that you'll make there, where you can buy all of our Massenomics apparel. Bench shirt, Yeah Buddy shirt, lift shirt, all of our full line of lift products, including the world's most expensive shorts, the lift shorts, our flex flasks. Like you can see, I've got one right here. We got that in a few different styles. Our hats. Sometimes people forget about our hats. We've got snapbacks. We've got fitted hats.
Regular backs.
Yeah, just no snaps on the backs of them. Buy everything there. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on Facebook. Tell a friend about the Massenomics podcast. We've been seeing the numbers go up over the last few weeks.
You guys have been telling friends.
Yes.
So
somebody has. Maybe it's just one person telling that has a lot of friends.
If you are that person, you need to tell us.
Yeah.
But yeah, get your friends to be our friends.
Yes.
And we'll all be happier.
We'll all be friends together. That's it, I think. How about handles on the old IG?
Old IG.
Yeah.
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
Remember to follow Smurl on Instagram, and also follow the official Massenomics
and let
page.
them know how you feel about Instagram.
Check out that ad of the ticker counting backwards and everyone celebrating, and then follow Massenomics on Instagram, the official Massenomics at Massenomics, and check us out next time for 149.
Yep.
We'll see you then.
Later.
You just heard the Massenomics podcast. With your ears, you're welcome. Check us out on Facebook, find us on Instagram at Massenomics, and make sure you visit Massenomics.com and buy some of that sweet Massenomics gear. From your friends at Massenomics Studio, home of the world's strongest podcast, stay strong.